the volatility is a gift to the faithful. The volatility, for example, I started buying Bitcoin and it soared up to 66,000. It crashed down to 40,000. It zoomed up to 60,000 something again. It crashed down to 16,000. It came back up, and all the way it was very volatile and uncertain. And we were able to go from $250 million in Bitcoin to buying 25 billion to having 42 billion in Bitcoin. And we took our company from 600 million in enterprise value to more than 100 billion.
Yeah.
If Bitcoin had been predictable.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Finance. In this video, Saylor discusses Bitcoin and crypto. Bitcoin's long-term trajectory is increasingly being framed as a transformational force in global finance. With its scarcity, decentralization, and resistance to inflation, positioning it as a hedge against fiat currency devaluation. As adoption accelerates worldwide, Bitcoin is evolving beyond a speculative asset. It is becoming the foundation of a new digital financial ecosystem. MicroStrategy's Saylor, one of Bitcoin's most vocal advocates, projects an average annual growth rate of 29% over the next 2 decades, potentially driving Bitcoin's price to $13 million per coin by 2045. His long-term vision challenges investors to think beyond short-term price movements. He illustrates this by asking whether one would rather trade 5 Bitcoin for a sports car today or hold them for a future value of $65 million. His point underscores Bitcoin's potential to generate generational wealth, provided investors maintain a long-term perspective. Bitcoin's rise is driven by several key macroeconomic and institutional factors. Inflationary pressures continue to erode the purchasing power of fiat currencies, making Bitcoin's fixed supply of 21 million coins a compelling store of value. Institutional adoption is accelerating, with major financial institutions integrating Bitcoin into portfolios and ETFs gaining traction, leading to increasing demand from pension funds, hedge funds, and corporations. Regulatory clarity remains a critical factor, and pro-Bitcoin policies, such as the potential ban on central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, under the Trump administration, could fuel further adoption. Network expansion is also improving Bitcoin's scalability, with Lightning Network and Layer 2 solutions making transactions faster and cheaper, reinforcing its viability for everyday payments and global remittances. Despite this optimistic outlook, risks remain. Bitcoin's price is still influenced by macroeconomic cycles, liquidity shocks, and geopolitical events. Competition from alternative digital assets, regulatory interventions, and technological disruptions could also impact its trajectory. However, historical trends indicate that Bitcoin has consistently outperformed traditional assets over extended periods. If the expected growth trajectory holds, Bitcoin could redefine wealth preservation strategies, ultimately transitioning from an emerging store of value to a primary global reserve asset. Investors who recognize this paradigm shift today may be positioning themselves at the forefront of an unprecedented financial evolution. And lots of things Saylor discusses, so please watch the video to end and share this video and subscribe our channel Everyday Finance. Thanks.
No, I said when you absolutely need the money, for the kidney transplant or for the whatever, sell Bitcoin. But I also say to people, just keep in mind, my long-term forecast for Bitcoin is it goes up 29% a year on average for the next 21 years. And so I look out to the year 2045, and I think it's base case is 13 million a coin. And it could go faster, it could go slower. But when you think about that, you're like, well, every Bitcoin you sell is going to cost you $13 million. Or if you decide to go buy a Ferrari or a sports car with 3 or 4 Bitcoin or 5, it's a $65 million Ferrari.
Yeah.
So think really hard. Do you want the Ferrari, which will be good, may get you a few dates and people will think you're cool for the next few years. But would you rather have $65 million 20 years out? Because you can retire on that and live a very comfortable life. So I cling to my Bitcoin. You do not sell your Bitcoin.
Sell the chairs, sell the shoes, walk barefoot. So when's, in your mind, if you're a betting man, Bitcoin hits 1 million when?
Yeah, it's difficult to give you a short-term forecast. So I'm not going to give you an exact date. I will just tell you I think it's 13 million in the year 2045. I think it'll grow between 30 and 60% a year for the next 5 to 10 years. And then I think it's growing 60% a year right now. I think it will decelerate to be growing 20% a year 21 years out. And so it could surge up, quite quickly over the next 4 years, and you would get there in 4 to 8 years. But it's very volatile. It takes a random path, and we can't be quite sure. So I think I would take a more open-minded view. I would just assume that it's going to keep grinding up. It'll surge up. It'll smash down. It'll do the serpentine thing. And the volatility is good because if it was straight line growing and everybody saw that it was very predictable, then a bunch of people richer than you that you don't like would just buy it all and you wouldn't be able to get any.
MicroStrategy, recognized as the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, is encountering possible tax challenges stemming from the Biden administration's implementation of the Corporate Alternative Minimum Tax, CMT. The tax, implemented under the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, establishes a 15% minimum tax on corporations whose adjusted financial statement income, AFSI, surpasses $1 billion over a 3-year time frame. Considering MicroStrategy's significant Bitcoin assets, which currently total 461,000 BTC, this regulation may result in considerable financial liabilities unless revised. A significant issue at hand is the potential application of the tax to unrealized Bitcoin gains, a decision that detractors contend could be economically disruptive and raise legal uncertainties. The taxation of unrealized gains, which are essentially paper profits, may compel MicroStrategy to liquidate a segment of its Bitcoin assets to address tax obligations, thereby potentially influencing the wider cryptocurrency market. This situation has ignited discussions regarding the extent of government intervention, the implications for property rights, and the autonomy of corporations. The enforcement of this measure could establish a significant precedent that impacts not just MicroStrategy, but also other firms with digital asset holdings, potentially transforming corporate Bitcoin strategies and influencing institutional investment patterns. Simultaneously, BlackRock is implementing strategic initiatives to enhance its spot Bitcoin ETF. The asset management firm has submitted a request for a regulatory amendment that would permit in-kind redemptions, facilitating large institutional investors, authorized participants, to redeem shares directly in Bitcoin instead of cash. This transition would improve the efficiency of ETFs by decreasing dependence on market makers and lowering the costs related to converting Bitcoin into cash. The absence of direct access to in-kind transactions for retail investors highlights a significant trend: the increasing integration of Bitcoin into traditional financial systems by institutional players. BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust has accumulated more than $60 billion in Bitcoin, accounting for approximately 2.7% of the total circulating supply of the cryptocurrency. CEO Larry Fink has articulated ambitious forecasts, indicating that Bitcoin may attain a value of $700,000, propelled by interest from sovereign wealth funds and increased institutional adoption. Should Bitcoin maintain its upward momentum, the introduction of BlackRock's ETF may significantly boost demand, solidifying its position as a prominent financial asset in the market. The recent developments underscore a critical juncture in the institutional adoption of Bitcoin. Regulatory challenges, including taxation policies on unrealized gains, may lead to increased volatility and necessitate corporate restructuring of Bitcoin strategies. Currently, the development of Bitcoin ETFs is enhancing accessibility for institutional investors, thereby solidifying its credibility in the international financial landscape. Amidst regulatory challenges and a rise in institutional interest, Bitcoin is establishing its position as a significant financial asset within the contemporary economic environment. Let's get back to Michael Saylor interview.
To the faithful. The volatility, for example, I started buying Bitcoin and it soared up to 66,000. It crashed down to 40,000. It zoomed up to 60,000 something again. It crashed down to 16,000. It came back up, and all the way it was very volatile and uncertain. And we were able to go from $250 million in Bitcoin to buying 25 billion to having 42 billion in Bitcoin. And we took our company from 600 million in enterprise value to more than 100 billion.
Yeah.
If Bitcoin had been predictable, if Bitcoin had just grown 30% or 60% consistently, 5% a month or something, then Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Jamie Dimon, everybody in the world, Bill Gates, they all would have bought it. I wouldn't get any. I would have 1/25th as much. We wouldn't be a $100 billion company. We might be a $5 billion company. But the volatility was a gift to the faithful. It scares away the tourist. It scares away the lazy. It scares away the people that are already conventionally rich, that have all the money. If you're a 20-something or a 30-something and you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to spend 100 hours or 200 hours, if you have more time than money, then the volatility of Bitcoin is a gift to you. If you have more money than time and you're arrogant and egotistical and you just pick the obvious, then if the volatility goes away, you buy Bitcoin. If people in the rest of the world knew what I know and they understood and they agreed with me, Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow. And if Bitcoin went to $10 million tomorrow, I want you to think about how you would feel and how your viewers would feel, because you would lose 20 years of stacking opportunity during which you get to buy at less than $10 million. So the difference between $10 million and 100,000, that's what you give up if the volatility goes away and people start to agree with you. So I'll end with just one thought, which is, in my life, I've made a bunch of very successful investments. I bought Facebook, I bought Apple, I bought Google, I bought Amazon, I bought Bitcoin. And there's a simple formula if you want to make 10x your money or even 100x your money. And this is the formula. Find something in the world everybody needs, nobody can stop, and few people understand. And if you find that, if it's like obvious, Amazon, Google, Facebook, iPhones, Bitcoin, digital capital, digital money, digital photos, digital relationships, digital video, if it's obvious and nobody can stop it, but you go and you talk to a bunch of people with more money than you, and they're older than you, and they're more successful than you, and they all say, I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, at that point, the cowardly response, the loser response is, well, a lot of people told me to give up on it because they don't get it, so I won't get it. And the right response is, I'm going to study it and decide if they're wrong, and I'm going to make a decision for myself. And if I got it, if I bought Amazon when Wall Street hated it, If I bought Facebook and Google and Apple when Wall Street hated it, if I bought Bitcoin when Wall Street hated it, then I'm getting rich.
Ross Albright, the architect behind the Silk Road Marketplace, has received a complete pardon from President Donald Trump, effectively terminating his double life sentence without the possibility of parole following over 11 years of imprisonment. Albright, previously incarcerated in a maximum security facility in Arizona, expressed his appreciation in a public video released on January 23, 2025, through X, formerly Twitter, characterizing the pardon as a transformative milestone in his life. In the video, Albright articulated significant gratitude, highlighting that his release represented a crucial turning point in his life. He conveyed significant relief at receiving a second opportunity following his prior incarceration linked to his involvement in the Silk Road, an online platform recognized for enabling the trade of illegal goods, especially narcotics. Albright recognized the importance of his recent liberation, expressing sincere gratitude to President Trump for delivering on his commitment to provide the pardon. This development contributes to the current discourse surrounding criminal justice reform, especially concerning nonviolent offenders. Albright's case, along with his eventual pardon, has attracted considerable scrutiny, prompting a deeper analysis of the broader implications associated with online marketplaces and digital currencies such as Bitcoin, which played a pivotal role in Silk Road transactions, as well as their impact on the criminal justice system. Albright's pardon is likely to provoke discussions among political and financial stakeholders. The situation raises significant legal and ethical considerations, while also underscoring larger concerns associated with criminal justice reform, digital privacy, and the regulatory landscape of cryptocurrencies. The release signifies a larger trend in policy adjustments, as numerous advocates are pushing for more lenient strategies concerning individuals engaged in nonviolent offenses associated with digital transactions. Furthermore, Albright's reintegration into society may have implications for current discussions regarding the Silk Road's effects on the global cryptocurrency market and the associated regulatory frameworks. If you learned something from this video, then please like this video and subscribe our channel Everyday Finance, and we will meet in next video. Thanks.